It is 10:30. We're going to get started. Just that way you have as much time to work on this Unit 4 assessment as possible. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Go ahead and log into the Pear Deck. It's just like 4 or 5 slides. It's just some announcements we're going to go over. But real quick, guys, if you didn't get a chance to do the discussion yesterday, you look at yesterday's announcement. The link to it's right there. It's in the modules. But in the announcement, I just wanted you to read this quote and just kind of reflect on it. And that's it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in the news today. There's a lot of stuff going on that people are for and a lot of people are against. So, you know, and this quote just kind of like shone out to me when reading through some stuff for class. This just really stuck out to me. And I thought it was really relevant to what's kind of going on right now. So I just kind of wanted you to read it and just reflect. That's all you had to do is just kind of think about what it meant to you and your analysis of that quote. Okay. But let's look at today's presentation, today's Pear Deck, and we're gonna work on today's assessment together for a little while. All right. So again, there's that Pear Deck link. Rose, you're good. If you just go ahead and log into that, it's real short. Quick check-in. Quick check-in on your stress level. Where are you at? How you feeling? It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Where's everybody at? We got 40 of us in here and only 13 in this Pear Deck. Let's get logged in. Let's get going. And as usual, if you're over here and there's something I can do to help bring you down, help get some stress out of you, let me know. I was early. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Earlier this morning, I was like here. I surprised my wife at work yesterday. Just went in to visit at go see the in-laws, take my kid in to see the grandparents and stuff. And I ended up giving her a ride home, and I was like, I'll just take you to work in the morning. Don't worry. Well, we get on the highway this morning to take her up to. She works up just south of Akron, and we live in Canton. And there's just as soon as we get on the highway, we're going, everything's going good, and then just this huge traffic jam on 77. That's like a 2-hour delay. And I just start freaking out, just stressing about getting back, so I can start my work day, so I can start class and all that. But I ended up making some maneuvers and getting around some cars and getting there and back all right. So we're down to about here. But we're all over. A lot of us we got a few in this range here. And again, as usual, guys, let me know. If I can do anything to help bring this down, let me know. And I've got a feeling that once I click this next slide, a lot of us who are over here, our levels are going to rise a little. June 3rd. That's our last day of school, guys. We're less than a month away. Looking at my calendar here, 1, 2, 3, we're 4 weeks away. Okay, almost exactly 4 weeks away. So if you are missing some assignments, if you've got some assignments out there, we have 4 weeks. 4 weeks to get them in and get them done. Okay. If you need an assignment list, if you're not sure what you're missing, or what you've turned in, what's been graded, please reach out. Kai needs one. Okay, send me a message in Canvas. Kai, I wrote you down. So I'll get it to you, and I'll get it to you after class sometime this afternoon, okay? But if you need one, guys, send me a message in Canvas. That way I have it, and it's saved. And if something happens, you've got a paper trail that says, hey, Mr. Brinkle, I sent this to you, and you never gave me one, okay? we've got this here in Big Blue Button, but it's way easier to get that paper trail established on campus, in my opinion. Okay, so reach out if you need an assignment list. A number of you guys have. It takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to make them up because I have to make them individually. I can't just download all the information and give it to you because everybody else's information is on there. So these are custom made to you. So I can, and they're color coordinated and they're nice. But what I did was I went through the grade book and I inputted all of the workbook grades, i.e. the missing workbook grades. They got turned to zeros because they're not turned in for units 1 through 3. Okay. And I'm going to say, guys, my disappointment level went from like here to like not even on the screen because this number here, yesterday before I did that, this number was 50. Now it's at 105. And there are still all of the Unit 4 workbooks that have not been completed yet. I have not input those grades yet. But this is where it's at after that. This is not a final thing, though. So you can go back and do those workbooks. Workbooks you can retake an unlimited amount of times until you get the grade that you want. Okay? But guys, those workbooks are 10 points each, and we do them at least 4 times a week. So that's 40 points a week. 40 points a week. Text you what, Gina? The assignment list? I can email it to you. And I can share it with you on Google Sheets. Okay, so I'll send you a PDF copy, and I'll share the document with you on Google so you can get on there and edit it too, okay? And make a copy. No problem. No problem. All right, just a quick reflection. What do you think you can do to improve? All right, Tyrone. What day is that? Wednesday. Yeah, in this class, Kai. In this class, what do you think you can do to improve just in U.S. history? I guess I should have put that. But just in class. How can you improve? We got 4 weeks. It's not the end. All right. Sometimes for some of us, that initiative, that spark, that light bulb of, hey, I got to get on the ball. That starts at the beginning of the year and we go all the way through. Some of us, no pressure, no diamonds, and we like to put it off till we get that pressure, and then we can go and do our best work. I'm kind of like that myself. But you're getting to that point. You're getting to that point where if you have not been turning stuff in, you're getting to the point where that mountain to climb is getting pretty steep. Okay, it's not impossible, but it's getting pretty steep. And the longer you wait, the harder you're making it on yourself. Okay, and I don't want that for you. Okay, I don't want that for you. All I want for you is I want you to succeed. I want you to be successful in this class. I want you to be able to take something from, learn something from this class, take something, apply it to your life, and move on. Right? You're going to leave the nest here in 4 weeks. And I really don't want to see you over the summer in summer school for this class. I really don't want that. Okay. So again, if you need an assignment list, let me know. I can make that up for you. If you don't even know where to start and you have an assignment list, come to the target sessions at 12:30 and 2:30. That's what they're there for. Okay. All right. I'll step off the soapbox here. So today we're gonna. Yeah, Kai, life is crazy. School is hard. I agree. It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier. As you get older, it just gets more complicated. Sometimes it seems simple. Sometimes it's a breeze. But I got to tell you, guys, it just gets more complicated. And you're got to be able to compartmentalize life and prioritize things and manage your time. And, you know, it's hard. Okay. Larry, we need it. Socrates was one of the first teachers that we know of, but you need it. You'll trust me, when you get to be in your 30s like me, you'll look back and be like, man, I wish I did more while I was there. I promise you. Right now, you're like, I cannot wait to get out of here. But when you get older, you're gonna look back, and Horace Mann was the guy who pretty much come up with public school in the United States, not school in general. But nice, Tyrone, nice. But trust me, you'll look back. But anyway, guys, so yesterday you had this quote analysis, which you can find right here. It's a discussion-based question. It's worth 25 points. You get 5 points just for following the directions. Okay? But you were to analyze this quote: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And you need to tell me if you agreed with the statement and why or why not. I gave you sentence stems. What do you think Dr. King meant by this statement? What is your interpretation of it? And do you think this statement can be applied to anything, or is it relevant in today's world? And if you said yes, tell me why. If you said no, tell me why. And I gave you sentence stems, meaning I wrote half of this for you. That's what that means. Okay, so if you're somebody that just has trouble getting started, or just, you know, being able to write out your thoughts in a cohesive manner, use these sentence stems, but you are not bound by them. Okay, and as usual, please be respectful of anyone's viewpoint. These are opinions, so there are no wrong answers. You just need to justify your opinion, and the points come from following the directions. You don't get credit if you copy and paste from Google or any other website. Okay? You must use your own words. You must write using complete sentences. And it must be in a cohesive paragraph. And I urge you to read your classmates' opinions and comment. Let them know why you agree or disagree. Okay? This is 1/4 of your assessment. We're going to look at the other 3/4 here. Letter from a Birmingham jail. This one's worth 75 points. Okay, so these two together make up, this is the test. They make up 100 points. It's due next Wednesday. And we're gonna spend the rest of class today working on it. Okay, you can find it right here on this link. So I've given you a lot of sources here. So you can click right here, and this is going to make you a copy of the primary source analysis document. This is what you're going to fill out and turn in. Okay, and it's got 12 questions. Each question is worth 6.25 points. Again, you must write using complete sentences. You can only use the document that I've given you as your sources for your answers. No Google, you won't need it. Okay, all of the answers are going to come from the document here. I've gone through this document. This is an abridged document, okay, meaning it's been abbreviated and shortened. The original is like 17 pages long. The abridged is 5 pages. Okay, I've gone through and I've pre-highlighted and underlined key points, key phrases, and in this document, and I've chunked it into separate paragraphs that kind of help guide your learning, because it's a lot. It's a lot of reading, and it's a 5-page document, guys. So I've chunked it into paragraphs, so you can just go through each individual one and just kind of take it in, digest it, and then move on. Okay. Remember, it's 75 points. You must answer every question. You must write using complete sentences, and you must formulate original thoughts and writings. Okay, so again, here's another link to that document here. So please make a copy. This is what you're turning in on Canvas. Okay. Do me a favor also. When you're writing your answers, write in the spaces, and choose a different font. Choose a different color like red or blue. That way, it's easier when I read it. It's easier to determine from what I wrote. All right, so first off, I've given you an audio recording of this document. This letter written by Martin Luther King Jr. I've given you Martin Luther King Jr. reading this letter. So we cannot get closer to the source of this historical document than this recording right here. Okay, but this is the unabridged version, meaning he's reading the full document. So it's a longer recording, as you can see. But I've listened to it, and I can tell you, hands down, it's 100% worth sitting down and taking the time to listen to it. Right? It's really, really cool to hear the man himself speaking on the issues and what he's reading. Okay, so it's just a really cool thing. If you click this link, you can make a copy of the document. It'll take you right to my Google Drive here, and you can just download your own copy. And I've also embedded a copy, so as you can see. All right, but we're going to look through this together, okay? And we're going to go back and we'll look at some of these. Okay, so let's look at this analyzing print document first. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn on the student page for the Pear Deck. We're not going to need the Pear Deck for the rest of class. All right, so question 1, identify the title, the date, and the type of document. So let's look at that. Can anybody tell me what's the title, what's the date, and what's the type of document? You can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself. What's the title, what's the date, and what's the type of document? What type of document? We've got 2. That's the end of the title. Or what's the type? What is this? What are we looking at? Is this a journal entry? Is this a memo? What is this? This is just a definition. This abridged, condensed version. It's a letter. Thank you, Spencer. So look, hey, there's number 1. The title, and I'm going to go in red here, just so I know it's different. The title of the document is Letter from Birmingham Jail, written on April 16th, 1963. This document is a letter. Boom. Look at that. Everybody should get number 1 because we just did it together. So go ahead and type that in on your document. While you're typing, let's look at number 2. Identify the author of the document. What is his or her point of view? Was the author free to create as he or she pleased? So, just by using some inferencing, we're not going to be able to get these second 2 questions, the second and third part of this answer, because we haven't read it yet. But we should be able to get the first part, right? So who's the author? Yeah, Marianne, great job. Martin Luther King Jr. is the author. See how it's a complete sentence? Because we're in high school and we write in complete sentences. But let's highlight this second part on our document. That way we know we have to come back to it. Okay? Because we haven't done this part yet. We're not going to be able to, we can't really tell their point of view, and we don't really know if they're free to create as he pleases in this yet, right? Do we know just from right now, do we know who the audience is? Just from this first glance, do we know who the audience is? Little too broad there, okay? Little too broad. Clergyman. What's a clergyman, Spencer? Do you know? Anybody tell me what a clergyman is? Yeah, it's a priest. So he's writing to other preachers, other reverends, other pastors, right? We don't know the purpose yet. We don't understand the context yet. We can't summarize it yet. So before we even read the document, guys, we've got about 2.5 of the questions done, right? Not bad. Just from inferencing and scanning. Which I'm good. About 8 minutes. So we're gonna look at a couple of the paragraphs together. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about 6 paragraphs that I just want to look at specifically. You're gonna have to go through this on your own though. And again, you can listen to it. I've got the Spotify link here of Martin Luther King Jr. reading the full letter, or you could just go through and read what I have. But let's look at this first paragraph. It says, "My dear fellow clergymen, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill and your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be a patient and reasonable terms." So real quick, we could probably say what's his or her point of view, or for whom was this written, or why, or what purpose. I'm sorry, number 4, what purpose was this written for? Basically, he's answering for the civil rights movement, why he's in jail, right? Because remember, guys, during those freedom rides, during the bus boycotts and the marches, the freedom marches, the march through Selma that we talked about a week or so ago, remember when they get to Birmingham, they get attacked, and Martin Luther King gets thrown in jail, where he writes this letter. Let's go down to paragraph 5. Okay, it says, "In any nonviolent campaign, there are 4 basic steps: collection of the facts to determine whether injustices are alive, negotiations, self-purification, and direct action. We have gone through all of these steps in Birmingham. Birmingham is probably the most thoroughly segregated city in the United States. Its ugly record of police brutality is known in every section of the country. Its unjust treatment of Negroes in the courts is notorious reality. There have been more unsolved bombings of Negro homes and churches in Birmingham than in any city in this nation. These are the hard, brutal, and unbelievable facts. On the basis of these conditions, Negro leaders sought to negotiate with the city fathers, but the political leaders consistently refused to engage in good faith negotiations." So what he's saying here is, we've gone through these steps of nonviolent protesting, and we've only been met with violence and corruption and ignorance. Let's look at paragraph 6. "Then came the opportunity last September to talk with some of the leaders of the economic community. In these negotiating sessions, certain promises were made by the merchants, such as the promise to remove the humiliating racial signs from the stores. On the basis of these promises, Reverend Shuttlesworth and leaders of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights agreed to call a moratorium on any type of demonstrations. As the weeks and months unfolded, we realized that we were the victims of a broken promise. The signs remained. As in so many experiences in the past, we were confronted with blasted hopes, and the dark shadow of a deep disappointment settled upon us. So we had no alternative except for that of preparing for direct action, whereby we would present our very bodies as the means of laying our case before the conscience of the local and national community. We were not unmindful of the difficulties involved, so we decided to go through the process of self-purification. We started having workshops on nonviolence and repeatedly asked ourselves the questions: are you able to accept the blows without retaliating? Are you able to endure the ordeals of jail? So he's outlining here why they're going through this movement. Okay, in this instance, the prior September of 1962, local leaders in Birmingham said they were going to stop hanging racist signs and whites only signs in restaurants and stores and things, and they didn't take them down. So they saw no alternative but to protest and to march, and they put themselves through training of, can you accept the blows? Can you have violence inflicted upon you without retaliating? Can you accept the fact that police are going to beat you and not retaliate to the fact? Are you going to be able to endure being thrown in jail? It's pretty powerful stuff. Let's look at paragraph 9. Okay, this is a little bit longer one. And I wrote a question here. It says, can you feel the anger that Dr. King feels about the situation in this paragraph? He writes, perhaps it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and drown your sisters and brothers at whim, when you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity, when you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society, when you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she can't go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television, and see the tears welling up in her little eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see the depressing clouds of inferiority begin to form in her little mental sky, and see her begin to distort her little personality by unconsciously developing a bitterness towards white people, when you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son who is asking in agonizing pathos, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? When you take a cross-country drive and find it necessary to sleep night after night in the uncomfortable corners of your automobile because no motel will accept you. When you are humiliated day in and day out by nagging signs reading white men and colored, when your first name becomes N-word and your middle name becomes boy, however old you are, and your last name becomes John. And when your wife and mother are never given the respected title of Mrs., when you are harried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro living constantly at tiptoe stance, never quite knowing what to expect next, and plagued with the inner fears and outer resentments, when you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness, then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over and men are no longer willing to be plunged into an abyss of injustice where they experience the bleakness of corroding despair. I hope, sirs, you can understand our legitimate and unavoidable impatience. Okay? And that's where we're going to have to stop here. But the question I ask you is, can you feel the anger in this, what he's writing here? Some other notable paragraphs to check out, paragraph 15 and 16. Specifically, okay, where he kind of goes back and this whole letter it's an indictment and it's a journey where he kind of contradicts himself. He kind of basically changes his mind and talks himself out of ways of thinking and calls out other civil rights leaders like Malcolm X and things like that. Okay, are there any questions? I know it's 11 o'clock now. Any questions about what you're doing here? All right, guys. Well, go ahead. You guys have until Wednesday to get this turned in. Keep in mind, this is worth 75 points. These two, yesterday's activity and today's activity, is our test grade. Okay. if you like, we can continue going over this tomorrow and push the Unit 5 introduction till Monday if you want. Just let me know in the chat before you go what you'd rather do. All right. Have a great day, guys. Don't forget target sessions at 12:30 and 2:30, and I'll see you all tomorrow.